The Gods Are Not to Blame, 1971, by Ola Rotimi, a leading Nigerian dramatist, is a powerful adaptation of Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, retold in the context of Yoruba culture and society. While maintaining the structure of Greek tragedy, Rotimi reimagines the mythic tale within an African worldview, highlighting themes of fate, identity, leadership, human responsibility, and cultural beliefs. The play explores the tragic destiny of a man who tries to outrun his fate, only to find that he fulfills it unknowingly. With Yoruba names, customs, proverbs, and rituals, Rotimi indigenizes the classical plot to explore contemporary issues in African governance, moral accountability, and the interplay of tradition and destiny. The play begins in the fictional Yoruba kingdom of Kutuya, where a prince, Odawale, is born to King Idetusa and Queen Ojuola. At the time of his birth, the oracle prophesies a grim fate. The boy is destined to kill his father and marry his mother. Horrified, the royal couple attempts to avert the prophecy by giving the infant to a messenger, Jibanka, with instructions to kill the child in the forest. However, Jibanka, moved by pity, gives the baby to a farmer from a neighboring kingdom, Ijekin Yemoja. The farmer raises the child as his own, and Odawale grows up unaware of his true origins. As a young man, Odawale quarrels with a stranger on the road and kills him, unaware that the man is his biological father, King Idetusa. Fleeing what he believes to be the consequences of murder, he ends up in Kutuya, where the king has recently died. The people, desperate for a strong leader, appoint Odawale as their new king. Odawale quickly proves himself a capable ruler, marrying the widowed Queen Ojuola, his mother, and bringing peace and prosperity to Kutuya. However, a mysterious plague strikes the land. The oracle reveals that the curse will persist until the murderer of the former king is found and punished. Odawale launches a desperate investigation to find the culprit, unaware that he is the one he seeks. As clues emerge, including the testimonies of messengers and palace elders, Odawale begins to suspect a conspiracy against him. Eventually, the horrifying truth is revealed. He killed his father and married his mother, thus fulfilling the prophecy. Overcome with guilt, Odawale blinds himself and relinquishes the throne. Queen Ojuola, upon discovering the truth, commits suicide. The play ends with Odawale accepting responsibility for his actions, declaring that the gods are not to blame, but rather human beings, who misinterpret or attempt to escape divine warnings. The title "The Gods Are Not to Blame" is both a thematic statement and philosophical stance. It challenges the traditional fatalistic view that the gods or fate are solely responsible for human misfortunes. Instead, the play insists that human beings bear responsibility for their decisions, actions, and failures. While fate may set a path, it is individual choices that ultimately fulfill or resist destiny. Odawale's tragedy, then, is not just a result of prophecy but also of pride, ignorance, and denial. Character analysis. Odawale. The protagonist and tragic hero, Odawale is brave, intelligent, and charismatic, but also impulsive, proud, and self-deceived. Like Oedipus in the original Greek play, Odawale's fatal flaw, hamartia, is his arrogance and temper, which blinds him to truth and leads to his downfall. Initially, he is a noble leader beloved by his people, but as the truth emerges, he becomes a symbol of human frailty and the limits of free will. Ojuola. Odawale's mother and later his wife, Ojuola is a tragic figure who, like Jocasta in Oedipus Rex, tries to protect her son by attempting to thwart the prophecy. Her actions, however, led to the very fate she seeks to avoid. Her suicide symbolizes the devastating consequences of suppressed truths. Alaka. Odawale's childhood friend, Alaka serves as a bearer of truth, helping to unveil Odawale's hidden origins. His arrival acts as a catalyst in the unraveling of Odawale's fate. His sincerity and loyalty contrast with the paranoia and mistrust Odawale develops toward his allies. Jibanka, the messenger who spares Odawale's life, Jibanka is a key figure in connecting the past to the present. His confession ultimately confirms Odawale's identity. His moral struggle adds depth to the theme of personal conscience versus societal duty. Themes: 1. Fate versus free will. At the heart of the play is the age-old tension between destiny and agency. The oracle's prophecy sets the tragedy in motion, but the choices of Odawale, Ojuola, and others fulfill it. Rotimi suggests that while the gods may know the future, it is human choices that bring it about. The play critiques blind submission to fate and emphasizes the importance of self-knowledge and moral accountability. 2. Leadership and accountability. Odawale's reign as king is marked by justice and progress, but also by authoritarian tendencies. His initial denial of truth and paranoia reflect the behavior of many post-independence African leaders who came to power as heroes but degenerated into oppressive rulers. Rotimi implicitly critiques leaders who refuse to accept their faults, warning that arrogance in power leads to ruin. 3. Tradition and modernity. Rotimi blends Yoruba culture with classical Western drama, using traditional proverbs, customs, and beliefs to explore universal questions. The play interrogates how traditional belief systems interact with personal destiny, and how modern individuals must navigate inherited customs with personal responsibility. 4. Identity and self-discovery. Odawale's journey is one of tragic self-realization. His search for truth leads to horror, but also enlightenment. The theme emphasizes the necessity of knowing one's roots, heritage, and moral foundation. Without this knowledge, leadership and life itself can become a farce. 5. The power of language and prophecy. The play's dialogue is rich with Yoruba idioms, songs, and proverbs. These not only authenticate the cultural setting but also act as moral commentary. Prophecy, a key tool in the drama, is treated with ambivalence. It is powerful but open to misinterpretation, demanding wisdom rather than fear. Structure and style. Adaptation and indigenization. Rotimi adopts the three-act tragic structure of Greek drama but infuses it with African elements. Names like Odawale, Ojuola, and Alaka are Yoruba. Customs like consulting the Ifa oracle, using praise singers, and invoking ancestors are deeply rooted in West African traditions. The chorus is replaced by elders and townspeople, who provide commentary through proverbs and oral narratives. Language and imagery. The play's language is poetic, didactic, and performative. Rotimi uses Yoruba proverbs, metaphors, and chants to enrich the dialogue and reinforce cultural context. For example, the toad likes water but not when the water is boiling. Such language enhances the philosophical weight of the dialogue and connects African orature with dramatic storytelling. Irony and dramatic tension. As in Greek tragedy, dramatic irony is crucial. The audience knows Odawale's true identity long before he does, which creates tension as he moves unknowingly toward his doom. His efforts to uncover the killer and uphold justice tragically bring about his own ruin. Symbolism. Blindness. Both literal and metaphorical. Odawale's physical blindness at the end symbolizes his earlier moral and spiritual blindness. Only when he is physically blind does he gain true insight. The oracle symbolizes the divine or cosmic order, but also the ambiguity of knowledge. Truth exists, but its meaning is difficult to grasp. Kutuya represents a society in need of justice and order, and becomes the stage for the ethical testing of leadership. Critical reception and legacy. The Gods Are Not to Blame is one of the most performed and studied plays in African literature. It is celebrated for its successful fusion of classical European form with African content, as well as for its timeless themes. Critics praise Rotimi for his bold cultural reappropriation. He localizes a universal tragedy, proving that Africa's cultural resources can engage with world literature on equal terms. The play has been read as a critique of African post-colonial leaders, many of whom rose as liberators but failed to fulfill their promises. Oduwale's failure is symbolic of the moral failure of such leadership. The play's message remains relevant in contemporary discussions on ethical governance, cultural identity, and personal responsibility. Conclusion: Ola Rotimi's The Gods Are Not to Blame is a masterful reworking of a classical tragedy into a distinctly African drama that interrogates the interplay between fate, character, and societal responsibility. Through the tragic figure of Oduwale, Rotimi explores deep philosophical and political questions. How much of our lives is controlled by destiny, and how much by our own choices? By blending Yoruba tradition with Western form, Rotimi not only indigenizes a global narrative but also elevates African drama to the world stage. The play stands as a timeless warning against pride, ignorance, and the misuse of power, while simultaneously affirming that the gods may predict, but humans are responsible for their own ruin or redemption.